tool that's better designed, right? So, considering those two sets of criteria, the landscape changes just a little bit when we start looking at technology and what technology we want to use. So whenever you look at technology, I want you to look at and find, look at it and remember these concepts: affordance, transparency. Put this aside. So let's look at some of these without forgetting these concepts. We can look at, for example, I like this. I'm going to add one manually in a minute. Because I forgot to put it. So NiceNet. All of these three tools, we learned about them here in the conference. We talked about some of them. I was in the presentation for Moodle and for I saw Trackstar, and I saw a little bit of NiceNet mentioned. Affordances, transparency. If we think about it, we could ask, which is the best tool? And the obvious answer might be, oh, Moodle is the best tool. But the best, or that question is oversimplifying the issue. Which of these tools is more useful for me? And you got to personalize that question. Which of these tools affords me the most and is the most transparent? Which is the best for me? You can think, if, for instance, they all do the same, they all are variants on the same theme of administrating content. With Trackstar, you very quickly build a list of resources. You get a number that you give to your students. So your students can go home or to the internet place, type in the number, and get that list of resources. Probably you've designed that list to follow a pattern conducive to discovering something, to learning something, or to practicing, So you can do the same in NiceNet, but with NiceNet you can add discussion. So you can add a discussion forum and have students leave their comment or leave their questions in the system for other students to see, answer, and build some kind of interaction. Now this requires a little bit more experience, just in the sense that you gotta have a little bit of experience with forums, etiquette, like Silvio was talking about yesterday. But it's still, not as robust as, say, something like Moodle. Moodle, like we saw yesterday, where you can have evaluation, you can have different groups working without them ever knowing that they're working in the same course. You can share more than just links, documents, PowerPoints, etc. A lot more complex, but also it requires a lot more experience. So what is the best tool for me? The answer depends on your experience and depends on really discovering what is it that each tool allows you to do, or it allows your students to do. Take 20 seconds, and to the person next to you, if you know all three, or maybe you only know two, you might only know this one and this one. Which one's better for you? Which one's the best one for you? That means which one can you start using this semester, or which one can you jump into tomorrow with your students or with your teachers? 20 seconds, tell the next person next to you. Go. So, some of you may have said, Trackstar, how dare you? Should be using Moodle. Some of you might have thought about Trackstar, and I like it too. It's not as robust as Moodle, sure, but I think it's quicker and easier for the students if all you want is give them resources. You don't want to test them online. Moodle can afford you that, but that's not your need, so it's not a real affordance for me. I don't want to test them online. I just want them to have a place to go and follow a sequence of activities. So Trackstar might be the best tool for me. It's not the newest, it's not the most sophisticated, it's not the most robust, but it is the best. So the best, it changes how we think about the tools. So let me get rid of this really quick. Let's take a look really quick at something else. I want to talk about these. Anybody who was in the presentation on games might remember me. I like games. I think that they have real application in the classroom. If you remember MUDs are online, text-based, kind of like fantasy games, where you make up the story as you go along. Neverwinter Nights, as it was shown, it's a graphical fantasy world where you take control of a character and experience the world through quests and whatnot. Text adventure games came around in the 80s. They're the most boring thing ever. If you just look at the screen, all you have is text and a prompt where you're supposed to say, walk. And then the story continues after that action. Or you say, pick up the wallet. And then it'll tell you, you pick up the wallet and stand in front of your bed. So the story moves along as you type the commands. Affordance and transparency. If you've never played video games, or if you've never played video games online, personally, these two scare me. It's too daunting a task, personally, even though I've played games. But these games are not, the instructional design is not there. It's very far away. My experience level needs to be so much more than what it is now for me to be able to use this, Text-based adventures, though, I would say that they are a little bit more transparent. You can type. That's all you need. You can read. That's about it. I've played them. I have a little bit of experience with text-based adventures. And I think it's, what will it afford me? What will it allow me to do that I couldn't do before? I think that it'll allow my students to read a narrative and stay on task longer, than if we just read a book. We could have the same story from, a short story from the book and make a text-based adventure out of it. Break it down and give the student choice about what he has to do next. Kind of like that choose your own adventure books that you can buy. So I feel confident that with a little bit more experience I can make this work. And it's something that could give me, it could afford me a lot of very interesting things. One last analysis effort. Get rid of this and this. And for instance, I'm very interested in Web 2.0 and things like Google Docs. Google Docs is collaborative, and actually, I may have been misleading in the description of the course. It reads like I was going to talk a lot more about Google Docs, but I thought it was very important to go back and see the tools that we that we experienced in this conference. Google Docs in particular is really good because it's a collaborative space for editing text. What that means is you can have a scenario where the document exists in one virtual space. Student A